What's up guys, my name is Infinity and welcome to my channel. Today I'll be talking about Electrone LaLo at Town Hall 10. Now Electrone LaLo is one of my favorite attacks to do in the game at Town Hall 10 and 11, and the reason why is because it's so strong at Town Hall 10 especially. In fact, I probably hit 90% of the bases with this attack and it usually works out. So today I'll be talking about two things. Number one, base identification and planning. Number two, execution. So that being said, let's jump right into it. So in this attack, there are two main phases. Number one, the Electrone and the heroes. So between the Electrone and the heroes, you must be able to take out the enemy Archer Queen, take out the enemy Clan Castle troops, create good, thin pathing for the LaLo so you can manage it well. And number four, destroy high priority defenses such as the Multi-Infernos, the Wizard Towers, and the Expos. In the second phase of the attack is the LaLo, which is basically cleaning up the rest of the base that the Electrone didn't take out. And the good thin pathing is very important for this because you need to be able to make the attack go smoothly or else your LaLo might not work out. So for base identification, you need to make sure that number one, the air sweepers are not covering the enemy queen. Now, your E-Drag needs to be taking out the enemy queen because if you don't, then she'll continue to fire at your balloons until they all die. So that's really important. Number two, the sweepers must not be covering too many high priority defenses such as the Multi-Infernos. Because if you don't take them out with your Electrone, then your LaLo is going to have to deal with it, and your LaLo is going to have limited spells. So you need to make sure you need to take out as much value as possible so that your LaLo goes as smoothly as possible. And number three, your Electrone must be able to create good pathing for your LaLo. Because if you don't create good pathing for your LaLo, it's going to be very hard to pull off successfully. So let's look into some attacks right now. So before I begin explaining how I attack this base, the basic premise of this attack is you'll send in your blimp that contains the E-Drag and the balloon. It goes deeper into the base, it'll drop somewhere. You double clone the balloon that drops out of the blimp, and you rage both the clone balloons and the E-Dragon to do as much damage to the base as possible, and then you LaLo the rest of the base. Now, as I said with base identification, I decided to hit this base because, first of all, the sweepers weren't covering the queen. Notice that the sweeper range is here and here. So nothing's gonna be able to push my E-Drag away from the queen. And if my E-Drag doesn't even kill the queen is close enough to the outside of the walls where I can just use my heroes to finish her off if the E-Drag doesn't get to her. So do realize that the blimp actually goes to the town hall. So what I decided to do was I'll send my blimp from right here, it'll go right here. Now I want to take some of the core and some of the ring with the Electrone to create that pathing for the LaLo, which I'll show later. So I was thinking, what if I drop my blimp here so it'll do some splash damage to the Expo and whatever's here, and then I'll do a clone spread. Now this is something very particular that comes with practice, and that is spreading your clones. Because you have to be able to estimate how far the blimp is going to fly into the base. And so what I did was clone here, clone here. So some balloons will go to the left and some will go to the right into the core. And that'll create, hopefully, the E-Drag chains and the balloon clones. This chunk of the base will be taken out by the Electrone, which leaves this shape of defenses left for the base. And you notice that this is a C shape, and this is very important because you need the C shape to be able to control where your balloons go. Ideally, you want your balloons to start from one end of the C and slowly progress to the other end of the C altogether. And I'll show how that looks like in a second. Alright, so here's the actual attack replay. So first of all, I start with two balloons in front of my blimp because you need to make sure that your blimp doesn't get stopped short by seeking air mines. I'll zoom in a little bit and notice my clone spreads. My clone spread like that, and then I drop my blimp right where they intersected so that the balloons get cloned immediately. Now it's very important that the balloons get cloned immediately because they need to be able to spread so that they can protect your E-Drag. And notice how my planning was pretty accurate because it took out half the core and all of this ring section. So now I've created that C shape for the rest of the defenses in the base. Now I don't have my king with me, but that's okay because I'll have my queen, solo the E-Drag, and solo the enemy queen. And then after that, I'll start with the LaLo itself. LaLo and LaLo are interchangeable, so I might say both. So notice how I start. Notice how I start at the top of the base. Now that's because the sweeper is right here, and I don't want to fight the sweeper because fighting a sweeper blow is very, very annoying. So anyways, continuing the attack, I put 4 balloons on that expo, 3 on the archer tower, 3 on the wizard tower, and the reason is that when you attack something that has a lot of core defenses, sorry I'm pausing a lot, but when you attack something that has like core stuff, you want to make sure that you have enough balloons actually going to the core, because if you say only have 3 balloons going to the core, then they're going to thin out really quickly, and you don't want that. So I've been starting my balloon drops with 3 each and continuing around the base. Notice how I'm not dropping any haste, but because that's because my balloons aren't in any particular danger. But now, see how all the balloons are going to the core? This is exactly what you want. You need to make sure that the balloons don't leave any defenses behind, or else that would be really bad, because backtracking is really bad and balloons are slow. So the balloons continue to make their way around the base. I'm not using any haste. Now I do, because they're heading into a wizard tower and I want to deal with that really quickly, because wizard towers are very deadly to balloons. So they haste into the air defense and the wizard tower, and the base is pretty much done. So yeah, this attack is very good, and I didn't even have my barbarian king with me. So fast forward, and I forgot to say that this attack in general usually works with ring bases because of just how it is. You just need to make sure that you can path your balloons into the core so that it works out. So let's go on to the next attack. So I found this base, and let me just explain why I'm attacking it. So I noticed that the sweeper ranges are not covering the queen at all, so my E-Drive will be able to get to the queen anyways, which is very good. And also I can just send my blimp right here, and if I do a clone spread, something like this, then they'll be able to take out this chunk of the base. And with that, I'll have only this remaining shape of defenses left. And that's what you want. You want a curve shape or an L shape of defenses, so that your LaLo can go smoothly through the rest of the base. And let's see it in action. So here we are with the attack. So as always, I put two balloons in front of the blimp so that they don't pull Seeking Air Mines early. And I'll zoom in. Clone drops perfectly, and then rage like last time. Then the E-Drag locks onto the queen, and before we know it, one corner of the base is actually gone. So now we've created that L shape for the rest of the defenses so that the LaLo can work through it. Now, because there were no clan castle troops, I'll use my queen and ideally my king as well, to be able to clean up some pathing for the rest of the LaLo, because you want them to go in one direction. You need to take out defenses that will cause them to spread out. So starting my LaLo, 3 defenses, 3 balloons per defense, and 2 hounds on the first defense. And then I'll use my 3rd hound to support the flank so that the balloons continue going in the same direction. Sweeper actually helped me out there because they pushed the balloons right into the haste. So notice how I'm not hasting right now, because nothing is really firing on my balloons themselves. The hound is tanking pretty much all the DPS. So I actually used my queen for cleanup because I knew this base was kind of dead already. So yeah, continuing the LaLo. This is very important. I put 2 balloons right here to tank the wizard tower, because I would rather have the wizard tower shoot my 2 balloons instead of all these balloons coming in from the right, because you want to preserve your main pack of LaLo. And keep in mind, in the general LaLo attack, you'll start with the main pack, and the general trend of the attack is supporting the main pack as it moves along the base, which is what I've done. I started heavy with 3 or 4 balloons per defense at the start, and then 3 more balloons as the main pack continues to go through the base, so that they can stay together and keep pushing through without spreading out too much. You don't want it spreading out. So yeah, easy stuff. Okay, so I see this base, and I see that the sweepers aren't really covering the queen that well, because if I come in from the northeast with my blimp, then the blimp can stop at the electro storage and at the wall between the electro storage and the air defense, and I can pop it there, and then the E-drag will kill the queen. So I think I'll do that. So 2 balloons, and then I'll drop the blimp. Clone drop now. Notice how much damage the blimp drop did to the queen. That helps a lot. So with the Electrone, I've taken out the single Inferno in the core, and I'm going to take out more buildings. I'm just going to let my E-drag do work. So also nothing came out of the clan castle, so I won't have to use a poison. So I'm just going to wait for it to do more. So now I have to decide where I want to start my LaLo. No sweepers are left on the base, so I can kind of go wherever. Now, usually when you do LaLo, you don't want to attack the splash damage head first. You know, you want to start with the point defense and then get to the splash damage later in the raid. So I'm gonna do 5 on that Expo because I'm trying to one-shot it, and it'll account for any traps that might spring up. So I got two hounds on the first air defense. The first one popped, but then the second one is there right away to take its place. So I'm gonna continue putting 3 and 2 balloons. The third hound is still there. So now it's nearing the multi-inferno. So I'm gonna haste these in, and I'll put 2 back there. Clean up. So I didn't use the haste earlier because my balloons were heading into point defense. But now that there was a wizard tower and multi-inferno nearby each other, and my balloons were heading there, I needed to make sure that I froze those. Or I needed to make sure that those went down really quickly, so I used haste spells there. So we have a lot of swag. I still have a hound left up and my queen unused. Yeah, that's really how you do it. And if you notice, when I did my Electrone, it took out effectively half the base, and it created a sort of line. Instead of a C shape, it created like a rectangle. And normally that's kind of but because the rectangle was only like 2 or 3 defenses like wide, that means that my balloons had easy pathing and could be managed well with spells. So that's kind of an exception there. So now I'm going to do a live attack for you guys, and looking at this base, it doesn't seem too hard. I noticed that the clan castle is empty actually, so that's kind of nice. And the sweepers aren't covering the queen because I can actually just drop my blimp from the dark barracks over here, and then the blimp will go up and left to the town hall, and then the queen will shoot the blimp. Now, the one thing I have to keep in mind is that in this general area, there's not a lot of high value defenses. All the wizard towers are spread out, and there's only 1 air expo and maybe these 2 air defenses. So I'll have to be really careful with my spell usage so that I'll be able to actually pull off this attack. So I'll probably drop my blimp at the mortar and then do a double clone at that area so that they can fan out and take out this stuff, which will create like a C shape for the rest of the defenses. And then I'll start my LaLo probably around here so that I don't have to fight the sweepers. And then they'll go clockwise around the base, and yeah, we'll see how that goes. So I guess I can attack right now. I didn't really scout it that much, so hopefully it works out. I don't have my king either, so but I think I'm pretty confident with the attack, so let's go. Okay, so we got 1 balloon here, or 2 balloons. I'm gonna drop my blimp. First sweeper actually pushes my blimp. Not ideal, but it'll work out, it's fine. Okay, double clone. I don't have to worry about using a poison. E-drag just chains all that stuff, and the multi-inferno goes down, which is not what I expected when planning, but that's kind of nice anyways, so you know, we'll work with it. So I'll drop like one or 2 minions right here for cleanup, and then I'll do 2 for the bomb tower, 2 for the mortar, and 3 for the archer tower because nothing's really firing on them. Hound to tank the wizard tower. Hound here, 3 balloons there. for each of those defenses. I'll let it coast, and then I'll do another round here. Continue dropping minions for cleanup, and let it ride. Balloons take out the single Inferno. Nothing is targeting my balloons. The Hound is tanking for everything, so I don't need to haste. The only time you would haste when your balloons aren't being targeted is if your Lava Hounds go way too far away from your balloons. Then you would need to haste. But my E-Drag is actually still alive, so that's kind of pretty stupid, not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm gonna drop the balloon there, and I'm gonna drop my Queen there for cleanup. And actually I should have done it at the bottom because there's a barracks, but actually the minions will go over there, so it's fine. And we didn't use a single haste on this attack, and the base is still pretty done. So that was pretty dominating, and I need to find a spot to dump my spells, and I'll probably do it right here. Create a nice Venn diagram right there for the clan and the swag, and we got the swag for the stream, for the YouTube video. And yeah, that's how you do Electrone in War, pretty much. Anyways guys, that'll be it for me today. Thank you for watching. If you do like this video and found it helpful, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Also, if you want to see more content like this in the future, please subscribe to my channel. I appreciate that. And if you have any suggestions or comments, leave them in the comment section below. I do stream on Twitch Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 8:30 p.m. Central Time, so if you're interested, I'll put the link in the description below. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a good day. Take care and bye.